Stephen Kinnock, your thoughts at the moment on where we are. Who can people trust?
Well, I think what we need to make clear is that we've got to prevent a no-deal Brexit, and we can't trust Boris Johnson to prevent it because he doesn't seem to be making any serious efforts to get a deal. There's been no development since he went to Berlin. Angela Merkel said, right, we've got 30 days to make something happen. That was 13 days ago, and nothing has happened. So what we're putting forward today is an amendment to this bill on the anti-no deal legislation, which actually says, look, let's use the time between 31st of October and the 31st of January to get a deal. And that deal is there on the table. It's the withdrawal agreement bill that came out of the cross-party talks. It's a good compromise with lots of concessions to Labour's position, and it's been agreed with the European Union. So if we're serious about leaving the EU with a deal, which is what I think should happen, and what my colleagues who've signed up today...
Parliamentary terms.
So it's based on the assumption that the legislation to prevent no deal will pass, and that the Prime Minister would be obliged to seek an extension to the 31st of January. But what it's saying is, let's give a purpose to that extension. The sole purpose of the extension should be to negotiate a deal. There is a deal which is actually on the shelf, on the table.
It's been rejected 3 times.
No, it hasn't actually, Nicky, because the key point here is that we had the meaningful votes. Parliament rejected those in those votes because, well, we felt that it was a blind Brexit with no clarity about the future relationship. The cross-party talks were then initiated. They went on for 6 weeks, very serious talks, and out of them, Theresa May announced a bunch of concessions to Labour on a customs union, a bill on workers' rights, environmental standards, very serious concessions in terms of clarifying the future relationship. And Parliament, tragically, never had an opportunity to debate or vote on that bill. So our amendment today says that is the basis of any deal that Boris Johnson is going to do. It's the only game in town. Let's give Parliament a chance to debate and vote on that. And the months between the 31st of January and 31st of October and 31st of January should be used to pass and ratify that, both in Brussels and in London.
If you are a Remainer and you want to stay in the European Union, which party has the clearest position, the Liberal Democrats or the Labour Party?
I mean, I don't see how that's going to be possible because there's no way that you can have a referendum by the 31st of January. The Institute for Government has confirmed it takes at least 5 to 6 months.
There's going to be an extension.
Well, the extension is to the 31st of January.
There will be one beyond that if that's on the table.
Well, how much longer can we go on with this, Nicky? How much longer can we kick the can down the road? The British people, I think, are sick and tired of this Groundhog Day, Parliament in deadlock, and a deadlock plays into the hands of the no-dealers. Because the legal default position is if you hit the end of the extension and you haven't got a deal on the table or anything else happening, we leave without a deal. That is the legal default. So the purists who are pushing for this second referendum have actually ended up playing into the hands of the no-dealers by creating a deadlock in Parliament. The only way to break the deadlock is to get a deal that works for jobs and livelihoods, and we can actually then take the air out of the Brexit balloon and have a general election based on the stuff that we used to talk about in politics, bread and butter issues.
So people will have
jobs,
to
education,
swallow the backstop.
Yeah, and actually there's only 70 MPs maximum in Parliament who have a problem with the backstop.
Really?
I have no problem with the backstop. I'm a big fan of the backstop because it protects peace in Northern Ireland, and hundreds of Tory MPs have voted for the backstop when they voted for the withdrawal agreement.
And while the backstop is in place, then furious and frantic negotiations and workings out can go on to try and chisel out some new situation.
Precisely, alternative arrangements.